This may be something you've never heard before. A simple gesture like a hug can evoke complex emotional responses in older men, carrying deeper and more profound meanings than you might expect. Hi, welcome back. This is Journey After 60, and today we're diving into the hidden emotions and deeper meanings behind something as simple as a hug. The 5 truths I'm going to share with you today aren't what you'd expect, and they certainly aren't what most older men would ever admit out loud. But understanding them could be the key to deeper, more meaningful connections with every man over 60 in your life. More importantly, they could show you how to offer something that older men desperately need but rarely know how to ask for. Before we dive in, I encourage you, don't forget to subscribe my channel and hit the notification, because sometimes the most important wisdom comes from understanding the emotions we're taught to ignore. So, what exactly happens when you hug an older man? Let's start with the first and surprising insight. Number 1, a return to emotional safety. There's something profound that happens to men over decades of living. They learn to armor themselves against a world that often demands strength without offering safety. But when an older man is truly embraced, something remarkable occurs. He experiences, perhaps for the first time in years, what it feels like to be emotionally safe. As we age, relationships take on a new depth. Physical closeness, like a hug, carries far more than simple desire. For older men, a hug isn't just about attraction, it's about feeling safe, cherished, and understood. After decades of life's ups and downs, men often carry quiet worries, lingering stress, or the sense of being unappreciated. When you hug him, especially in a way that's gentle, warm, and attentive, you communicate you're seen, you're valued. You can let your guard down. This isn't about sparking immediate passion. It's about creating a space where he feels emotionally secure, where vulnerability is welcomed without judgment. That sense of safety is deeply magnetic. It reminds him why he wants to be near you, not just physically, but emotionally. You see, men of mature age have often spent decades being the strong ones, the providers, the protectors. They've learned to suppress vulnerability, to ignore their own need for comfort, to be the solid foundation others lean on. When someone embraces them with genuine care, it creates a rare space where they can momentarily let their guard down. This return to emotional safety isn't about weakness, it's about recognition of their humanity. After decades of being expected to be strong for everyone else, the simple act of being held communicates something profound. You don't have to carry everything alone right now. Studies from Dr. Sue Johnson's work on attachment show that physical touch releases oxytocin and reduces cortisol, the stress hormone, more significantly in older adults than in younger ones. The nervous system of a mature man who feels genuinely safe can shift from hypervigilance to peaceful presence. When you hug an older man with genuine affection, you're communicating something he rarely hears. Your well-being matters to me. You're not just valuable for what you do or provide, you're valuable simply for who you are. This feeling of safety often surprises older men because they've grown accustomed to being emotionally self-sufficient. The embrace reminds them that interdependence isn't weakness, it's human. So the next time you embrace him, pay attention to your energy, your warmth, and your presence. Notice how he relaxes, how his shoulders drop, how a quiet contentment washes over him. That's the true power of emotional safety. It reconnects hearts and reminds him that losing you would mean losing the comfort, trust, and peace he finds only with you. Consider the men in your life who might be carrying more emotional weight than they show. Sometimes the most powerful gift you can offer is the simple message, "I'm safe with you. You don't have to be strong right now." This return to emotional safety opens the door to something even deeper, a recognition of their fundamental worth as human beings, not just for what they provide or accomplish. Number 2, recognition of their fundamental worth. Aristotle taught that every human being possesses inherent dignity, worth that exists simply by virtue of being human, not earned through achievement or performance. But older men often live for decades without experiencing this recognition, valued primarily for what they do rather than who they are. Building on the concept of emotional safety we just explored, my brother-in-law, Charles, shared something profound with me about an experience he had at 61. His daughter had hugged him after a difficult conversation about his retirement fears, and Charles said he felt something he couldn't quite name at first. Charles later realized what he had felt. For the first time in years, someone had embraced him not because he had fixed something, not because he had provided something, not because he had achieved something, but simply because he existed and mattered to them. Charles told me that most physical affection in his adult life had come after accomplishments, after he'd gotten a promotion, after he'd fixed something around the house, after he'd solved a family problem. But his daughter's hug came after he had expressed fear and uncertainty. She wasn't celebrating his strength, she was acknowledging his humanity. Many older men have internalized the message that their worth is conditional, based on their ability to provide, protect, and perform. When you embrace them with unconditional affection, you communicate something revolutionary. You matter to me not for what you do, but for who you are. This recognition of fundamental worth can be deeply healing for men who have spent decades defining themselves through roles: provider, protector, problem solver. The embrace says, even if you couldn't do any of those things, you would still be precious to me. Your embrace communicates something that words often cannot. You don't have to earn my affection. You don't have to prove your worth to me. You are valuable simply because you are you. This feeling often connects to grief. Grief for all the years when their worth felt conditional, when love seemed to depend on performance, when being vulnerable felt dangerous rather than safe. Think about how you express affection to the older men in your life. Do your embraces communicate conditional approval, or do they communicate unconditional worth? Sometimes the most healing gift is affection that says you matter simply because you exist. Share your thoughts in the comment to let others know how a simple hug has made a difference in your relationships, and how creating that sense of emotional safety can deepen connection at any age. When you offer that kind of unconditional emotional safety, it sets the stage for deeper trust and intimacy, opening the door to the next key principle. Number 3, Connection to life's tenderness again. Before we explore this transformative feeling, let me weave together our discoveries. We've seen how embraces provide emotional safety and recognize fundamental worth. These create the foundation for something even more profound, the courage to reconnect with tenderness in a world that often demands hardness. The poet Rumi wrote, "Let yourself be silently drawn by the strange pull of what you really love. It will not lead you astray." Many older men have learned to silence that pull toward tenderness, vulnerability, and gentle connection. But in the safety of a genuine embrace, that tenderness can awaken again. As we grow older, life can sometimes feel rushed, routine, or weighed down by responsibilities, health concerns, or past disappointments. Many older adults start to operate on autopilot, focusing on getting through the day rather than fully savoring the moments that make life sweet. Reconnecting with life's tenderness means allowing yourself and your partner to feel the small, beautiful details again. The warmth of sunlight on your face, the soft laughter shared over a quiet dinner, the gentle brush of a hand across yours. These tiny, tender moments carry immense emotional weight, reminding both of you why companionship, care, and love matter so deeply. By prioritizing tenderness, you awaken emotions that might have been dulled over time. It's not about grand gestures or passion-driven excitement. It's about the steady, heartfelt appreciation of each other and the world around you. When older men experience this kind of gentle presence, it rekindles a profound sense of connection and gratitude, a quiet insecurity that makes them cherish you, not out of fear, but out of recognition of your irreplaceable warmth. Men often learn to shut down their sensitivity as a survival mechanism in a demanding world, but this shutdown can become so complete that they lose touch with life's beauty, wonder, and gentle moments. A loving embrace can serve as a bridge back to that sensitivity. Research from Dr. Antonio Damasio shows that emotional numbness is actually a protective mechanism that can become chronic. Physical touch, especially nurturing touch, can help reactivate neural pathways associated with positive emotions and emotional sensitivity. Notice how this builds on our earlier discoveries. Emotional safety allows vulnerability. Recognition of worth allows authenticity. Together, they create space for tenderness to emerge without fear of judgment or rejection. Consider whether the older men in your life might have disconnected from tenderness as a protective mechanism. Your gentle, patient embrace might be the key that helps them reconnect with the beauty and wonder they've learned to suppress. So far, we've explored how embraces provide safety, recognize worth, and reconnect men to tenderness. These three experiences create a foundation of emotional openness that allows for even deeper healing. And that's where our next insight takes us into even deeper territory. Number 4. Healing from life's accumulated wounds. By the time men reach their mature years, they carry wounds that society has taught them to bear silently. Losses, disappointments, failures, and griefs that have never been properly acknowledged or healed. My neighbor David, at 70, embodied this principle in a way that still moves me. David was a Vietnam veteran who had spent 50 years carrying wounds that went far deeper than anyone realized. He seemed strong, stoic, perfectly composed, until the day his granddaughter simply held him after he shared a difficult memory. In that embrace, something profound happened. David later told me that he felt, for the first time in decades, that his pain was being acknowledged, witnessed, and held with compassion. The wounds he had carried alone for so long suddenly had a safe place to be seen and felt. David's experience revealed something important. Older men often carry what I call unwitnessed wounds, traumas, losses, and disappointments that they've never been able to share fully because vulnerability was seen as weakness in their formative years. Carl Jung observed that the wounded healer is one of humanity's most profound archetypes. When you embrace an older man with genuine compassion, you're offering something profound, a space where his wounds can be acknowledged without judgment, where his pain can be witnessed without him being seen as less of a man. David helped me understand that older men don't just carry individual traumas, they carry the accumulated weight of decades of small wounds that were never acknowledged. Moments of failure, times of vulnerability that were shamed, losses that had to be endured in silence. David's granddaughter's embrace gave him something he'd never had: permission to feel the full weight of what he'd carried and the safety to let some of that weight be shared rather than borne alone. Over time, David began sharing more of his stories, not seeking sympathy, but finding healing in having his experiences witnessed and valued. The embrace had opened a door to emotional healing that had been closed for decades. When you embrace an older man who is carrying unhealed wounds, you're participating in something sacred, the witnessing and holding of human suffering in a way that allows transformation and healing. The older men in your life may be carrying wounds they've never been able to share. Your compassionate embrace might be the first safe space they've had in decades to let those wounds be acknowledged and begin to heal. Share this video with someone who could use a reminder that tenderness and presence are gifts that never age. This healing of accumulated wounds naturally leads to something that may be the most precious gift of all: permission to be vulnerable in a world that has demanded strength. Number 5. Permission to be vulnerable. The deepest feeling of all that older men experience in a genuine embrace is something that may be the rarest gift in their lives: permission to be vulnerable, to need comfort, to admit that they don't have it all together, and to discover that they're still loved and valued. Brené Brown's research on vulnerability reveals that it's not weakness, but courage. The courage to show up authentically even when we can't control the outcome. For older men who have spent decades believing that vulnerability was dangerous, this permission can be life-changing. As we age, many men carry a lifetime of expectations to be strong, stoic, and unshakable. They've often been told, explicitly or implicitly, that showing emotions is a weakness. But when you give an older man the gift of true emotional safety, you also give him something rarer: permission to be vulnerable. This isn't about coaxing tears or forcing confessions. It's about creating a sanctuary where he feels safe enough to set down the armor he's carried for decades. Imagine the relief of no longer needing to be strong all the time, of having someone simply witness his inner world without judgment. A kind gesture, listening attentively without interrupting, holding him without expectation, or acknowledging his feelings with genuine warmth can awaken emotions he may have buried long ago. That kind of vulnerability doesn't just deepen connection, it rebuilds trust that may have been eroded over a lifetime of stoicism. It allows love to move beyond mere desire or companionship into something richer and more sustaining, emotional intimacy that feels safe, healing, and profoundly affirming. In this space, he experiences what it truly means to be seen and valued, not for what he does, but simply for who he is. When older men feel safe enough to be vulnerable around you, you become not just a partner, but a sanctuary. He starts to realize that losing you would mean losing the rare freedom to fully feel and share his inner world. When older men feel safe enough to be vulnerable, something remarkable happens, not just for them, but for everyone around them. Their willingness to lower the defenses they've carried for decades sends a quiet but powerful message. It's okay to be human. It's okay to be imperfect. And it's okay to need one another. In that openness, walls come down, relationships deepen, and love is experienced in its most authentic, healing form. Vulnerability becomes a gift that ripples outward, encouraging honesty, compassion, and connection in ways that desire or routine alone could never achieve. As we complete this exploration of what older men truly feel when embraced, I want you to understand something profound. These 5 feelings, safety, worth recognition, reconnection to tenderness, healing of wounds, and permission to be vulnerable, they reveal the deepest needs of the human heart at any age. When you embrace an older man with genuine care, you're not just offering physical comfort, you're providing emotional sanctuary, affirming human worth, awakening capacity for tenderness, facilitating deep healing, and granting permission to be authentically human. These responses aren't signs of weakness or neediness, they're signs of a soul that has lived long enough to understand what truly matters: connection, compassion, and the courage to remain open to love despite life's wounds and challenges. Every time you embrace an older man with genuine affection, you're offering something sacred, the message that he's worthy of tenderness, that his emotions matter, that his humanity is beautiful, and that he doesn't have to carry life's burdens alone. Remember, the simple act of embracing another human being is never truly simple. It's a sacred exchange that can heal wounds, restore hope, and remind souls of their fundamental worth and connection to love. If this understanding touched you, please like and share this video with others who might benefit from seeing the deeper emotional world of mature men. Subscribe for more wisdom about the profound dimensions of human connection. And don't forget to ring the bell so you never miss any latest video. Your embrace carries healing power. Use it wisely. Offer it generously, and trust in its ability to touch souls in ways that words never could. Thank you, and see you next time.